The Titans go to Metropolis. Dick fights ninjas, a villain bites the dust, and the Titans come up against a creepy supernatural villain. Hello, entertainment enthusiasts. This is Ray, and this is the Fandom Realm. And today I'm reviewing Season 4, Episode 1 of Titans. Just remember, this is a spoiler review, so just be warned. First thing I want to say is just to tell you what my thoughts of Titans so far have been. I'm a big Titans fan. I'm a big Dick Grayson fan. I'm a big Robin fan. I do know some about Beast Boy. I do know some about Starfire. I have heard of some of those characters, or I did before I started watching Titans. But of course, the big person I was watching was for Dick Grayson / Robin / Nightwing. And overall, I've enjoyed the previous season so far. I thought it got out to a little bit of a rough start. I'm not sure they really knew where they were wanting to go with the series, and especially after the original trailer came out, the one where Robin said, F Batman. I saw so much craziness online about that, but I really thought the series came into itself in Season 2. Season 3 tended to be okay. I didn't enjoy it quite as good as Season 2. Again, it was okay. I enjoyed it. I'm into Titans. I'm big-time DC fan, and so I was very much looking forward to Season 4. So this is the review for Season 4, Episode 1, and it's called Lex Luthor. So to kick off this episode of Titans and this review, the show starts with the Titans at a bowling alley. They're having a good time. They're bowling. They are having some competition, lots of nice banter, talking to each other. Lots of little instances of character development going on, lots of team bonding going on. I think one of the biggest, and I think this is important, and I'll talk about it later in my reaction, we are actually going to see that the Titans are going to get invited to Metropolis. They are being invited by S.T.A.R Labs. That is because Superman wants to see Connor and talk to him, and of course Connor considers Superman one of his dads, and he wants to go see Superman, of course, and so they are going to make the decision to head to Metropolis. Now, meanwhile, we get introduced to one of the major DC villains, and that is Lex Luthor. And he is at the Temple of Azeroth, and we are introduced to May Bennett, and basically she has been helping him for a while get access to Azeroth, and it's a real spooky place. It's very much supernatural. I don't know a lot of the history of Azeroth, so I'm just going to sort of let them tell that story. I don't want to look anything up and see what's going on with that. But things get very supernatural very fast. We're going to see a pretty spooky bad guy in a creepy raven mask. I think that's what they called it. And something's just going to happen. We do get introduced to the character of Sebastian Singer, and he's a taxidermist, and something's going to go on with this whole supernatural idea where Rachel actually knocks over ketchup and it turns into blood, and then that blood is going to start coming out of a taxidermied fox in Sebastian Singer's store. And so with that, we get to see this spooky bad guy in the creepy raven mask go into a house and kill people, and that's all having to do with this blood, and Rachel's going to be affected by it, and eventually maybe even Beast Boy does get affected by whatever the spookiness is. Now, the Titans are eventually going to get to S.T.A.R Labs. They're going to meet with, I'll be honest, first episode, I'm not sure what the guy's name is. He's like, I guess, one of the top guys there at S.T.A.R Labs, or at least a top assistant. And he is going to break the news to Connor that Superman is on a mission. Superman left Connor a note and basically said that he couldn't wait to get back and meet Connor. And so that's all really good. Well, the big thing for S.T.A.R Labs right now is that they are testing superpowers. So they actually are going to test Beast Boy. And this is why I say some of that spookiness crept into him, because he's going to go into like a dream state. And while he's in that dream state, in physical real life, in front of the other Titans and the scientists, he turns into a gorilla and apparently a velociraptor, and he's going to destroy their lab. But he doesn't remember anything. So this is something that could be linked to this whole situation that was going on earlier, possibly with Azeroth and the spooky bad guy. They're testing abilities of Starfire as well, of Corey, and they find out that after she destroys rather easily the hardest substance known to Earth, known anywhere, they're going to realize she's only using like 8.5% of her power. And so that's something that I'm going to imagine. Usually when they set things up like that and tell a hero early on, hey, you're only using 8% of your power, somewhere down the line she's going to have to use 100% of her power to save the team, and we're going to get to see how strong she really is. Now, while they're driving down the road, once they leave S.T.A.R Labs, and S.T.A.R Labs, a couple other little quick things went on. That assistant that was talking to originally Tim Drake and Dick Grayson, it looked like him and Tim Drake may have had a little connection there. So I'm not sure if they're going to move that in the future or if it was just a one-time thing. But that was something I don't think anybody could watch that scene and not notice it. Dick is also going to give Tim Drake a fighting pike, or at least that's what I call it, and something he's going to be able to use later on. And S.T.A.R Labs actually spritzes up their RV and ends up, actually they have a little sports car that actually emerges from the RV. I'm still not real sure where they were putting that, but it's interesting. It's one of those things in a superhero type movie that, sometimes you just have to overlook a few things here and there. So while they are headed out of town, Lex Luthor actually makes contact with them. He takes over basically their electrical system, and he wants to talk to Connor, and he wants Connor to come and see him. Well, before Connor gets there, Starfire, Corey, is going to infiltrate into Luthor's apartment. She basically beats up all of his guards extremely easy. He's heard of her. He's just sort of walking around while she does it, very relaxed. And she's there to find out what's going on. She releases this little device. It's basically a flash drive with wings that gets into the computer system. And, well, they're going to realize that Lex Luthor is dying. Basically, he's dying of kryptonite poisoning. And so Connor eventually goes in to see him, but not before Lex Luthor realizes. Lex basically knew that Dick Grayson was standing around somewhere as Nightwing watching what was going on. And he was actually across the street in another building. Lex knew that. He had a telescope basically on that room. And so he actually sent ninjas against Nightwing. And actually, Tim Drake was there too. He didn't really put up a huge fight. He hasn't really been trained much. But with that, you had a situation where Dick is basically going to kick all the ninjas' butts. He has this line, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. I hate ninjas, and so I love Nightwing. I always loved Robin because Robin was always such a beast at using different types of weapons. And I've always enjoyed that, watching Robin characters do that type of thing. More athletic, sort of a gymnast type background. And so I like Nightwing. I like Dick Grayson. Now, after Dick / Nightwing beats all the ninjas, okay, that's over. They're going to start having some issues because Lex and Rachel are going to sort of start choking. There's something sort of mystical going on here. And Lex is throwing up blood, and eventually a snake starts coming out of his mouth, and Connor pulls it out, and there's this big, long, sort of creepy, evil-looking snake, and Connor blasts it with his heat vision and kills it. But this, whatever was going on, actually is going to end up killing Lex Luthor. The episode is going to end with the police taking Connor into custody, and it's going to end with May Bennett, the person that Lex Luthor fired earlier at Azeroth. And in the last scene, we do get to see May Bennett, and her line to end the episode was, "Someone always pays." And of course, we do know that May Bennett, and this is a spoiler, but like I said, this is a spoiler review, she is going to turn into Mother Mayhem, or she is Mother Mayhem. And that's something that is going to get revealed in the next episode, I think. Now, I do want to talk about some of my reactions to some of the things that were happening in this episode and my general feelings about it overall. First thing is I really enjoyed all the team bonding that they were doing early in the episode. The whole bowling alley scene, that was important, I think. I think this group of characters, this group of actors work very well together, and they do have some chemistry when they're together. And so I think it's important for the writers to write them into more scenes like this. We've never really seen them training together very much. The Temple of Azeroth. I'm going to be honest here. Probably the one thing I have disliked about some of Titans is this supernatural influence. I really don't like magic really being in my DC. I know there's all kinds of examples of it, and so season 1, there were parts of it, especially near the end, the second part of the season, that I had issues with. There were some parts of last season. There were parts of last season bringing people back from death that I had some issues with. I mean, I understand it. I'm not going to hate on Titans because of it. It is DC Comics lore and canon, so I'm okay with that. But it's not something that I totally enjoy. Now, moving on, I like the S.T.A.R Labs scenes as well. I'm very interested to see if they're going to do something with Tim Drake and that male assistant. I'm not sure where they might go with that. It'll be interesting to see how they move on that. Now, the other thing with Tim Drake is they haven't really trained him any. Now, I haven't looked at any information from, let's say, the writers or producers on when Titans Season 3 ends and when Titans Season 4 begins. But they seem to be right there on top of each other. And so there doesn't seem to be a lot of time. So they haven't had much time to train him. But they need to get on that because right now he's just sort of that person in the background that's not doing much. One thing I do want to see more in the series is more Corey and Dick interaction, and also more Rachel and Garth interaction. Everybody has good chemistry together, but I've noticed those two pairs have excellent chemistry together. Corey, I think, has really grown throughout the seasons. And I can't think of the actress who plays Corey right now, but I think she has really grown. I think she has gotten much better, and that is going to help the show. I just had to laugh at the Dick Grayson Nightwing hating ninjas. I do have a theory, and that is add ninjas to anything and it'll make it better. I love to watch Nightwing beat the heck out of some ninjas. So I love that scene. Some people are probably going to think it's really cheesy and corny, but I loved it. Also with that scene, you just get to see Nightwing's skills. Now, of course, we are going to come about to the whole end of the episode, and I'm a little surprised. It appears that Lex Luthor is dead. And if so, some of the marketing I've seen for this season really seem to feature Lex Luthor quite a bit. But he's apparently dead now. And that, of course, is going to open the door for new bad guys. I just hope they are really bad. Now, before I leave, I've got to give this episode a grade. And I've got to say, while I enjoyed it, it was a solid first episode. So I'm going to actually go with a B- on this episode. I thought it was a solid episode, and a B- is not bad. So I'm interested to see where this season actually builds to. With that, I want to thank everybody for watching the review. Please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and comment below. And I'll see you next time on the Fandom Realm.